woke up about half an hour ago. Now I'm gonna answer some questions that you guys have asked me. I didn't really think this one through. I posted a question about a week ago, almost exactly, asking you guys to ask me questions that you want answered, and it looks like we got 16 whole questions, so let's see how this goes. The first question we've got here is from C Mac. IDK, if it's appropriate to ask, but how are you doing? Not going to give you the full rundown of how I'm doing because we would be here for quite some time. But today, right now, this week, I'm doing okay. I'm a little stressed out. I'm looking for a new roommate, but other than that, nothing to really complain about. My mental health has been relatively stable. My physical health, not so much, but you know, I'm keeping myself busy. I'm getting enough hours at work, so life could be better, but it could also be a lot worse. The next one is from Natasha B. If you had to leave your home because of a catastrophe, which 10 items would you take? Clothes you wear not included. Let's see. I would definitely take my medications. Unfortunately, that takes 5 items off the list, so now we're stuck with 5. Oh my god. I would have to take my wallet with me that has my identification cards, my debit card, my insurance cards, my library card, which is the most important, and so now we're down to 4. I'd definitely take my phone with me. I need to be able to communicate with people. Down to 3. I would take my med kit with me because I am obviously accident prone. So in a disaster situation, I'd probably be bumping myself all over the place. Down to 2. I'd take my car, honestly, because that would give me shelter and a better range of movement, granted that the roads would be usable. And the last one is I'd probably take my important documents with me, because those are going to be a pain in the ass to replace, like my birth certificate and everything like that. There's a lot of items that I have that I do love, but they would be replaceable in that instant. I don't know. That's a lot to think about. That one really blindsided me. But I think that's the 10 that I would take. Third question I have is from Donners. What are your favorite items that always stay with you through the purge process? My first one is definitely my comb. It's made out of sandalwood, and I really, really like it. It's white tooth. I got it off of Etsy. It's handmade, and I really, really enjoy that. It's the first time in my life that I've actually enjoyed using a brush or a comb, and I really value it, and I like to take good care of it. So that is definitely one of my prized possessions, even though it's like, really, a comb? Yeah, really, a comb. Let's see what other things stay with me through the decluttering process. I would say, hands down, my aunt's hand-knitted jumper / sweater. That thing is amazing. Insofar, pretty much all of my furniture has stayed. I have this bedroom set that has a tall boy, low boy, and then a bedside dresser. I really like them for the simple clean lines that they have, and they also provide a lot of storage, so those always stay. Up until I lost them like 2 months ago, I had this pair of sunglasses from Ski Optic that I really loved, but I somehow lost them after over 10 years, and I'm really devastated about that. I guess this is something that stayed with me. I mean, realistically, I don't need it because it doesn't really function as a phone, and I can only use it where there's Wi-Fi available. But it still brings a lot of value to my life because I download all my Spotify playlists onto this so I can listen to it when I'm walking to the store, walking to work. And I also download Google Maps, so when I'm out in a city that I'm not familiar with, or if I'm going boondocking out in the woods, I know where I'm at. I think one more thing that I probably will never declutter, because of A, sentimental value, and also B, because I really like it, is this book called Apparat by Clive Barker. And my grandfather gave it to me for the holidays. God, it's gotta be, oh no, like 12, 13 years ago. I'd say 15, but I'm not 30 yet, so that's not right. It's been a while. I lost Farfar about, oh God, it's been like 6 years now, and he was a really amazing human being, and I miss him every day, and I love him. And having that book, sorry, why am I upset? But anyway, having that book is just kind of a way to reconnect with him, and also like, the story is amazing. Clive Barker is a fantastic horror writer, and even though it's a young adult book, it's still really, really good. That also kind of ties into the other question from Natasha B. Are there any sentimental items that you will never want to get rid of? The Abarat book is definitely one of them. The sweater is definitely not another one of them. I'm actually a very sentimental person. It's just kind of weird considering that I'm also a minimalist. I do have a few things from my childhood. My grandmother used to make these little kind of coordinated gifts for everyone over the holidays called a yearly plot-a-foot. And I've got a few of those. One of them is this really beautiful, and she would make all of these, but she hand dipped all of these eggs in wax and put beads on them and everything to be an ornament. And even though it has my dead name on it, I'm still keeping that around because, you know, sentimentality. The holidays were a very, very important part of the year for my family because this is when we all really got together. And I feel like trying to get rid of that or compost it or give it to someone else is kind of wrong because of all the history that's attached to it. So I've also got a few other things, but I can't really bring them up to mind at this point. The next question is from Meredith Linsmeyer, and it's a very important question. I'm very glad that you asked this. Have you ever gotten to a point where the decluttering process was unhealthy? Yeah, honestly. To me, minimalism has been a way for me to help functionality in my daily life with my disabilities. And sometimes I have definitely misidentified the restlessness and unhappiness that I've had in my life with the things that I've got, which has led me to declutter things that I don't necessarily want to declutter or needed to declutter. It's happened a few times, but thankfully I've been able to kind of like recognize when that's happening, stop it and be like, okay, you're having a lot of negative emotions right now. Yes, your room is a mess, but is it because of the mess or is it because of something else that has then led you to be depressed to create the mess? So I think it's very important for people to recognize when that is happening. It can be hard sometimes, especially when you're new to decluttering, and it's very exciting and it's something that you want to do because there's that instant gratification and the rush of the accomplishment you get from it. But listen to your emotions, listen to yourself. Sometimes it can be really hard and sometimes emotions in your brain can trick you. It's best to go into decluttering when you're in a good mood, when you've got a great headspace, opposed to when you're just like, my life is a mess, my room is a mess. This is obviously the only thing that's causing the mess, so let's deal with this one thing instead of all the other baggage behind it. The next question is from Liana Rojas. Has minimalism changed your preference regarding travel, music, food, art, etc.? It's definitely changed in regard to travel. When I was younger, I wanted to do a lot of jet setting and traveling and everything, completely disregarding my lack of finances. I wanted to be that bitch on Instagram, going to this country and that country and everything because, you know, it looked like a lot of fun. Now, as I've gotten older and realized my finances and also realize how environmentally destructive airplane travel is, I'm kind of like, yo, if I want to travel somewhere, I'm going to try for alternate routes. And that basically just leaves me stranded on the American continents. But, you know, that's okay. Maybe someday in the future, if I can afford it, I'll go traveling and everything, but I will want to do some major carbon offsetting. I've also, in my daily life, with traveling around town, had significantly decreased the amount that I've been using my car to the point where I'm kind of pissed off that I'm paying for insurance because I use my car about 4 times a month, which means every time I use it, I use like a quarter of my insurance, meaning it costs me like 25 bucks to use my car each time. But anyway, that's not the point. My point is I have been trying to minimize the amount that I use my car, so I have been walking one heck of a lot more. It has definitely helped that I've moved into town. I was on the outskirts for a while and now I am smack in the center of everything. And I'm also using public transport a lot because my city, by some grace of God, has free public transport, which is amazing. And I'm by basically every single main line. And so, yeah. As for music, I don't really think so. My music taste hasn't really changed all that much in regards to influence by minimalism. It's changed in regards to new friends that I've made over time, but not to do with minimalism. As for food, now food is a very touchy subject. I have always had a very complicated relationship with food, and it's always evolving, sometimes not for the better. I would say that the minimalism community here on YouTube has influenced me to go more plant-based. I was a vegetarian for a very long time, and it's mostly just because I despised the way that my mom made meat. So I was like, I don't want to eat your dusty ass arroz con pollo. I'm just going to be a vegetarian. Slice me up some tofu. I don't want that dry mess. But I went back to eating meat around, I want to say like 18, 19, and I stopped eating it again a few years ago, maybe like a year and a half ago. I've kind of ping-ponged it between being vegetarian and being vegan, but like I said, I have a very complex relationship with food, and sometimes things can get a little extreme. So, yeah. As for art, I don't think this is necessarily a minimalism thing, but I got into art a lot more about a year and a half ago, and it's kind of proliferated in my life. I wouldn't say that it's minimalism influence, but a lot of my designs do have minimalistic qualities to them, just by the way that they are designed. That's mostly just because I don't know what I'm doing. But one of the things that I've been really cognizant about lately is the fact that art supplies can be damaging to the environment, and also there's not a lot of ethical ways to buy them. So I've been starting a few projects in which I only use secondhand or found or donated items and make art like that, making it completely green. So yeah, that's been fun. It's been a nice little challenge, but working within parameters and trying to improvise has been a nice little exercise for the old noodle. The next question is from Uwu, and it is, what do you do when you notice you're decluttering as a distraction from another problem in life? It kind of loops back into another one that we had prior. Sometimes it's really hard to notice it when it's happening, but if I do, I just kind of like stop, reevaluate, put things away, and if I'm still feeling that that specific area of my possessions is overwhelming, like a couple of weeks after the fact, when the emotional turbulence has subsided or anything like that, I'll reevaluate it then. But like I said, sometimes it can be a little hard to catch yourself. The next one is from Ginza, and it says, why do we love you so much? And honestly, I don't know. I have very low self-esteem, fun fact, and so when people give me positive feedback, I'm like, thank you, I don't know what to do with this. Thank you, I guess. I don't know what to do with this. I've got another one from Natasha B. All right, any tips for not spending money? Be broke all the time? That's kind of how I get around not spending money. But seriously, I find it a lot easier to leave credit cards and debit cards at home when I'm going out, and I know that I don't need to get anything. Like if I'm going grocery shopping, yeah, I'm going to bring them with me, because otherwise I would be up a creek without a paddle. But if I'm just going out on the town with some friends, just going out for drinks, I'll bring what I need with me in cash, so I'm not tempted to overspend. Even with my limited income, I find it a little hard to not spend money. In my case, like the majority of the money that I spend that should be used for other things or whatnot tends to be on drinks and food. And drinks can be remedied by, buying my own stuff and mixing it at home. But honestly, when I go out to drink, it's with friends, it's to go to my favorite bar, it's to catch up with my favorite bartender and everything like that. In fact, tonight I'm actually going to be going there and doing a trivia night, and so we're going to be spending some money. The other one is food, and that is mostly because I have a lot of anxiety surrounding food, and sometimes I find the notion of buying, preparing, cooking, and then eating my own food to be a little overwhelming. So I take the easy way out, which is financially damaging to me, by going to a restaurant. And in this instance, having everything at home prior to that, pre-prepped and everything, so I could just throw it in a bowl, would be the easiest way to prevent me from doing that. But like, hindsight is 20/20, and sometimes actions don't exactly follow the words that precede them. Next question is from Jerpy, and that is, what kind of self-care are you doing currently? Right now I'm trying to establish a routine for morning and night. Trying be the operative word. When I wake up, I'm basically a big old groggy frog, and all I want to do is go back to sleep or read the news. And so it's been a bit of a rusty start on that, but honestly, I think that developing a routine in the morning and the night, which I've had in the past, significantly helps my functionality as a human being, and it also improves my mental health. And it, helps me get my hygiene done, both physical and mental, and helps me eat appropriate amounts of food and drink appropriate amounts of water and take my medications on time and everything like that. So yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. Hasn't necessarily been successful, but damn it, we're trying. This is so funny. I didn't even see the next question. This one is from Donna Crozier. Not sure about the time difference with the UK, so I hope I'm not too late. You're not. My question is, do you have a regular morning/evening routine? If so, do you do any specific form of self-care? Thanks. Like I said, I'm trying to establish one right now, and it's all really focused on, self-care, physical self-care, mental self-care, and also trying to take care of my surroundings, which all kind of just funnel into me being a functional human being. Since it hasn't been established fully right now, I'm not going to say exactly what it is. Maybe in the future, after I've, done this for a few weeks, I'll show y'all what I do. But with that being said, routines and personal needs are totally subjective. What works for me may not work for you, but you may be able to pull something from it. Who knows? The next one is from Kendall Shepherd, and honestly, this is the one that gives me the most anxiety. How have you been handling art supplies that clutters up? I feel like I don't always have time to focus on art, and I feel bad that I'm holding on to too much. And honestly, big fucking same, man. I have an entire dresser that is full of fiber art supplies, in addition to 2 other baskets, 2 different looms, and then like a bookcase full of block printing and acrylic and oil and watercolor. Like, it's honestly the bulk majority of the things that I own just by numbers is art supplies. It vastly outnumbers my personal effects, probably like 3 to 1 easily. I get you. I just got out of a phase where I wasn't doing any art, and I just felt really, really bad about having all that there, especially because, other people could use these art supplies. And one of the ways that I've been able to get around that is by hosting little art parties at my house. It's normally just me, my friend Rosie, maybe a couple of other people. I do them about like once a month, maybe something like that. And it really helps get the creative juices flowing for not only me, but everyone else in the group. And it also helps me to rediscover all these items that I have, because like when I see something at the thrift store that's an art supply, I'm just like, that is mine. It's a problem. It's really the only part of my life that I still have issues with overspending or spending, or just purchasing things that I don't need. But honestly, like, I love art, and having more options and mediums to use is it's nice. It's nice. But sharing is caring. And honestly, if you feel like you're holding on to too much, like, you can go through, see if you actually really need the things. If not, try to pass them off to a friend. Standard decluttering. The next one is The Darkest Light. Do you feel like you need to declutter all the time, and when you haven't for a while and there's nothing left to get rid of, it winds you up? Or is that just me? Love your videos, X. Well, thank you. Towards the beginning, yeah, I really felt like I had to declutter quite a bit, but that I would say is mostly because my declutters were not completely complete. When I started out, I was just really excited about the concept of minimalism and everything, and I was still dealing with a lot of like internal struggles with materialism and everything like that. And so as I have evolved as a person, my decluttering has evolved as well. I'm feeling pretty dang comfortable with what I've got right now, but I still find it very helpful to go through about once every 6 months just to see if everything still fits with my lifestyle. And I also like to do that, especially with my closet over there, as you guys saw earlier this month, that it really helps me just kind of evaluate what things I have and if they are actually serving me. And it also helps me to see if anything that I have needs to be repaired. I actually have a couple of items in there that I found when I was decluttering that need to be repaired, and so they're kind of on the repair pile. But yeah, I would say definitely towards the beginning I felt this compulsion to declutter quite a lot, but now I'm a little bit more comfortable with my possessions, a little bit more comfortable with myself personally, and I don't really feel that urge. I just kind of do it maybe once or twice a year. The next one is from April Hines. What are some new ways you've discovered to make your lifestyle more sustainable? BTW, you're awesome. Thank you. Let's see, new ways. As soon as I find something, I just kind of incorporate it into my life, and I don't really give it much of a second thought. So I guess one of the most recent things is I've started to make my own cosmetics in terms of like balms, salves, cleansers, and stuff like that. I've also been trying to make a lot of my own like house cleansers. Like I've made my own DIY soft scrub. I make my own infused vinegars and stuff like that for cleaning. I find that to be a bit more sustainable because I'm not constantly buying plastic package cleaning supplies, and you know, I'm using stuff that's nice and biodegradable and isn't too impactful on the environment. I honestly get a lot of my inspiration from watching a lot of other people or seeing what they do. The community here is very vast and it's a great resource to pull on. One of the most interesting things that I've seen lately, and I do not have the chops for this, is, oh god, I can't remember her channel name, but she's been recently going around Lisbon on like times after it's rained heavily and finding all of these broken umbrellas, and she's been taking all that material and then cutting them into sustainable rain jackets, which I think is just, it's brilliant. So hats off to you, that's amazing. But yeah, no, just see what everyone else does and take what you need from it. The penultimate question is from Riki, and it is, how do you deal with things that you know you don't use / need, but you still keep them because you feel like losing a part of your identity? Like, I love most of my collections, I just don't use most of it anymore, but if I get rid of that, then I'll have nothing to reflect myself in my possessions. Do you ever get that feeling? Yeah, I've definitely had that before, and honestly, it took a while for me to get rid of all of my cosmetics. I used to be a beauty blogger. I used to really be into cosmetics. And luckily, I just kind of got jaded by the community and just kind of yeeted myself out of there. I just purposely canceled myself. And it literally took up until about a month ago to get rid of all of my makeup, even though I didn't really use makeup for the past 2 years. It was a huge chunk of my identity. I even went to school to be an esthetician, but you know, I moved down to Southern California 2 weeks after graduating from my then girlfriend, and since we're still together, obviously that worked out fine. So I get where you're coming from. I honestly don't know how to answer this. Like, true, we are not our possessions, but also like there is a lot that connects us to them. And you know, if they still bring value to your life, there's no reason to get rid of them. But just know that you're really not your stuff. You have a personality outside of the things that you own and the things that you like. And you know, if that thing is going to disappear someday, you're still going to be yourself. But on the other hand, yes, it's really nice to be able to look back and reflect on these things because there's a lot of nostalgia and good things that are connected to them in your brain pan. So, I don't know, man. I wish I had more to tell you, Riki. The last question is another one from Natasha B. What are some of your favorite items in minimalism? I don't really have favorite items that are in minimalism because, I don't know, for me minimalism is a concept, it's a lifestyle decision, it's a choice. It's not necessarily a thing. But I guess I'll just loop back to, I really love my comb. I really love my book that my grandfather gave me. And you know, sometimes things do bring value to your life and it's worth keeping them around. Hey, I think that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for asking all these questions. My alarm's going off, my bad. Oh. A lot of these questions really made me think about stuff. But again, thank you guys so much for asking all these questions, and I hope that you were able to get out of it what you needed. Bye.